So can I ask you just 1 second, Colin, right? And I'll ask everyone this question because it seems to me that what's emerging here is that we all have different ideas about what homophobia means. Susan, so if someone calls you a homophobe, you find that quite upsetting. Why? What do you think the definition of it is?
I feel that because I personally have a political attitude that I want to retain the present wording of Article 41, that's just an opinion.
And how would you define homophobia then when someone labels you as that?
When people say I'm homophobic, they must mean that I'm anti-equality and I'm anti-people's rights and I'm anti-being kind and decent and loving. And all I'm saying is I just want an opportunity to give people my opinion, which is rather traditional, and I may be in the minority, but don't shut me up. You go back, some of you, and see some of the hate mail I will get tonight when I open my emails. On Twitter, I get hate mail just for saying that.
We'll come back to that in a minute. I want to ask all of you, Colin, what's your definition of homophobia?
Well, I think, first of all, I do need to respond to something that Susan said. I mean, you know, public discourse is challenging at times. You know, it can be robust. And this is absolutely about freedom of expression. And I absolutely would defend, to my last breath, your right to say what you think about these issues. And your right to oppose equality for LGBT people, as you have done consistently for very many years. You opposed the decriminalisation of homosexuality in 1993.
I beg your pardon. I support it. I supported civil partnership.
If that's not true.
It's not true. I supported.
She did oppose decriminalisation in 1993.
I could dig back with
you oppose decriminalisation?
I can't even remember what you're talking about. I want to tell you that in No, you can look. There you go, tittering away. I supported.
It's a simple fact.
Okay, but hang on. Can you just clarify?
Excuse me.
Susan,
do you agree
Susan,
I supported civil
can you clarify?
partnership?
I know you
No, you don't know.
Susan, I think it is important. Will you clarify, did you or did you not oppose the decriminalisation of homosexuality?
But you're talking about, I'm not that old.
It was 1993.
It was 1993, not 1933.
Okay, well, look, we move on. Colin, can I ask you then, so your definition of homophobia is much broader one then, yes?
I did not oppose that.
Let me, well, I'll apologise if you didn't, but my understanding is that you did.
Well, where have you been digging stuff up from?
Well, let me tell you, don't rely on my definition of homophobia. Let's look at what the EU Parliament had to say on the matter. They described homophobia can be defined as an irrational fear of or an aversion to homosexuality and to LGBT people based on prejudice and similar to racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism and sexism. And they said it can manifest in the private and public sphere in different forms, such as hate speech and incitement to discrimination, ridicule, and verbal and psychological and physical violence, persecution and murder, discrimination in violation of the principle of equality, and unjustified and unreasonable limitation of rights, which are often hidden behind justifications based on public order, religious freedom and the right to conscientious objection. That, for me, is a definition of homophobia.
Okay, Noel.
But I think that may be part of the difficulty, and I think you've identified yourself, Brendan, is that people are working on different definitions. I mean, that's a...
Would you accept that one?
No, a parliamentary working group definition of homophobia,
of the EU Parliament.
or European Parliament working group definition of homophobia isn't the issue. What the issue is, what common usage of the term is.
Okay, what that definition said, Noel, is that basically anyone who would discriminate in any way against homosexuals, and I think it's roughly, not to invoke the name of Rory O'Neill, Panty, that's roughly what he was trying to say that night, which is that anyone who would deny him any of his rights, he experiences that as homophobic.
I don't accept that. I think that's a disproportionate and inaccurate and counterproductive use of the word homophobia. It's disproportionate because people of stronger anti-gay views need to be confronted for being homophobic. Secondly, it's counterproductive.
So you're kind of saying if everyone's homophobic, nobody is.
If everybody who disagrees with marriage equality is dismissed and characterised as homophobic, then there'll be no engagement in this debate.
Colin, just a second. You've had plenty of time. Avril, can I ask you, so, what's your definition of homophobia?
My definition is the dictionary definition, which includes discrimination and prejudice. And if you argue, and discrimination, whether it's against women, as we've had in the past in this country, whether it's against unmarried mothers, people who were divorced, kids who were born out of wedlock, people of a different colour, of a different age, of a different race, that's discrimination. And it has a real impact on people. And as Colin said earlier, you end up with young people who are afraid to go to school because of homophobic bullying. We still have laws in this country that mean that teachers are afraid to be openly gay in their workplace because they can be fired. And this has a real impact on people. We have gay people in Ireland to this day, despite all the progress that has been made, are still 7 times more likely to take their own life. I don't think that's right. I believe that every person is entitled to equal rights and equal respect under the law. And I respect other people's...
See, as well, though, that's all fine. As well as that, is there not an issue here that, like, this is about everyone's rights? And clearly, people who are, say someone who's against gay marriage on religious grounds, right? And you tell them, well, actually, you're homophobic. Are they not free as well to have their religious beliefs and the dogma of the Catholic Church, whether we like it or not, at the moment? So, like, are you, by labelling them, are you not kind of infringing on their rights then? Because that's held in good faith by them as it's part of their beliefs.
Well, for a start, nobody is arguing in the debate on marriage equality that any religion should be forced to marry people against their will. This is a debate about civil marriage. It's about what the state, the right
the point I'm making is that if you label people who are against gay marriage as homophobes, is that not...
I haven't done that, and to be fair, I don't actually believe, having watched the tape from 3 weeks ago, that that's what Rory O'Neill did. He outlined the fact that there is a spectrum of homophobia that, in my view, goes the whole way from the derogatory joke that makes a 15-year-old kid that's standing in a circle in school where everybody's laughing at their identity, that makes that person go home and cry and feel bad about themselves, right up to violence. And it ranges, as Colm says, from the subtle to the extreme. But I accept other people's religious freedom. I accept their freedom of speech. I thank God for the fact that this isn't Russia, that unlike the guests that you had on earlier on, we're free to have an open debate. People are free to express opinions in a robust way. Other people may take offence, but the way to deal with that is to respond in the debate. It's not to shut it down.
But you see, I wonder if people do feel free. For example, Colm, we had great difficulty tonight getting people who were willing to come on here on Susan's side of the debate. And a lot of them did say that, you know, yes, I hold these beliefs, I'm not ashamed of them, but if I come on that show, as Susan has already said, I will be pilloried. Have we not seen in the last few weeks a kind of a roving lynch mob on Twitter there of people on the liberal side, we'll call it that, shutting down anyone like Susan who holds these opinions and lynching them online?
One of the things that really worries me is that some sections of those who oppose equality are trying to talk up this notion that somehow to challenge discrimination is to somehow shut people down and deny them their freedom of expression. I want to say it really, really clear. I think it's incredibly important that people who hold views that oppose the notion of equality should be given the space to fully express those views. They should be given the space to be able to examine and argue their position, and that space should be respectful and appropriate. And those of us who want to argue the other position should be able to argue the other position. And by the way, freedom of expression is freedom of expression. Everybody is free to express their opinion, and others are free to express their opinion of their opinion. And we may be offended by other people's expression, but there is no right to be free from offence. I mean, there's no right...
Just before I go to the audience, you want to come in there?
Is using the word equality. I'm using the word referendum. I'm saying that we are going to be asked, do we want to alter Article 41? It doesn't say anything about equality. So you're immediately trying to label me as something I'm not. I'm just saying, could I, as a traditionalist, have an opinion? Well, I'm not homophobic without being labelled. Why can't I just have a discussion?
That notion of labelling is a bit of a problem. I mean, I'm not labelling
Brendan,
anybody.
I can tell you this, that people will not come on. People don't want to come on because if you have an opinion on this subject, you are thought to be lower than low. I have
guys, I want to go into the audience for a minute because we have
Colm,
just a minute.
Many of the people who hold that opinion, Brendan, are regular writers in the newspapers. The notion that they don't have a voice is ridiculous.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. I do want to talk to some people in the audience. First, I want to talk to Ben Conroy. Now, Ben, you won't mind me saying who your mother is?
I'm Breeda O'Brien.
Yeah. Okay, so your mother is Breeda O'Brien. It's neither here nor there. You are a columnist, but I think it is important for people. You don't need
everything from RTE, you know. Well, go on, yeah.
No, but I do think it's significant. And you are a columnist with the Irish Catholic.
Oh yeah, I am indeed.
Is that right?
I'm here in that capacity.
Now, okay, and you are against gay marriage?
I am.
Okay, and do you feel shut down by the use of the word homophobe?
I'll tell you what I feel. I feel that using the word homophobe to apply to everyone who opposes gay marriage runs a very real risk of minimising and sort of putting to the side the very real and horrible homophobia described by Coleman Averill, which is absolutely a factor in our society. And I think that's a problem. I have a lot of good gay friends, right? The idea that, okay, we're talking about definitions of homophobia here.